So, Dr. Umar Johnson on the push for blacks to vote, coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logical Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So I have another clip of Dr. Umar Johnson in an interview that he did on the Ari Not Sorry show. Now, in this particular discussion, the argument, basically in this particular video, they started to discuss about black folks voting and this idea of criticizing blacks for not voting.
And say you no good as a black man because you didn't vote. You're selling your people out. No, selling my people out is spending $66 million on Christmas gifts when we ain't got a damn hospital. Selling my people out is spending $30 billion on fake hair when we ain't got no schools for our children. Selling my people out is spending $4 billion on liquor and alcohol, and we got all these unemployed black males running around here. Right. You see what I'm saying? That's selling my people out. Yeah. Not voting for candidates who don't represent you ain't got nothing to do with that. But a lot of us are so politically uneducated, and we also afraid to go against the grain of the dominant mindset of the black community, which says vote or else. Or else what? Because we've been voting, but you still got Breonna Taylor, you still got Trayvon Martin, you still got Philando Castile, you still got Amir Poole, still got Sonia Bland, Sonia Massey, and the list goes on. Because the vote should be transactional. I give, I get. It's transactional for everybody, but black folks.
Okay, so let's unpack the jackassery from this fool. It has always seemed to be a lot of jackassery from this dude. Anyway, so he talked about, blacks spending $66 million on Christmas gifts, but we have no hospitals. And my response to this has always been the same. We don't need no damn hospitals. Black folks do not need to build hospitals to be successful in America. Okay, to become a doctor, for a black man to become a doctor, or a black person to become a doctor, that you don't have to first buy a hospital. That's asinine. That's jackassery. This is this stupid structure argument. Black folks need to build structure. There's plenty of structure in America that black people have access to. So the lack of building, quote unquote, building and owning structure is nonsense. Then he talks about, black females spend we spend $30 billion on hair, which I'm assuming is black females. And we have no schools for our children. Now, I agree that, this idea of black females spending all of this money on hair and weave is really stupid. That's money that could be invested in growing wealth, not because of race and not because of no fist in the air, solidarity, pro-black nonsense, but just growing wealth for yourself. The amount of money they spend on nonsense, again, it goes back to the ghetto mentality and the butter. That butter, this idea of focusing on quick gratification, but no school for our children. I always say, again, my response to that is the same. Where's the black child in America that doesn't have a school that they can go to? Every black child in America has to live in a district where they can go to a school. The problem isn't the lack of schools. The problem is that they're raising these badass kids that are tearing down the schools, because oftentimes these places are full of blacks with the ghetto mentality. So don't worry about, stop crying about the schools and deal with the ghetto mentality. If you weed out the ghetto mentality, then the no schools arguments falls apart, because there'll be schools that these kids can go to and learn, as opposed to schools they're going to where you have jackassery and kids tearing the schools out and making it difficult to learn. Then he talks about, blacks spending $4 billion on alcohol and liquor. Well, I don't drink. I never really care for alcohol. But if people spending money how they want. There's lots of people spend money on alcohol. But if these black males are unemployed, they need to get a damn job. Like everybody else. It's amazing how he makes everything seem like there's some grand conspiracy plot. No, they need to go get a goddamn job. And then he went into this same tired nonsense of bringing up these same damn cases, these same cases of blacks being supposedly killed by cops. It never ends with these blacks. You talk about Breonna Taylor and Trayvon Martin. He said Philando Castile And then he said Ahmaud Pool. Never heard of no Ahmaud Pool. Maybe he meant Ahmaud Arbery. And then he said Sonia Bland, which actually is actually Sandra Bland. And he said Sonia Massey. They keep bringing up these same cases. And the thing, these are 6 cases in a, 12-year period? 12-year period, and you can give, all you have is 6 cases, then you want to cry about police killing of blacks? And then of these 6 cases, only 3 of them involve cops. Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman wasn't a cop. He was a neighborhood watch, but neighborhood watch is not the cops. Or Ahmaud Arbery, which I assume he's talking about Ahmaud Arbery, because I looked up Ahmaud Pool and I didn't see anybody by that name. But Ahmaud Arbery was killed by the McMichaels while they were fighting over a gun, over the shotgun. One of the McMichaels anyway. And Sandra Bland hung herself in the jail cell. So you can't blame that on police officers. So 3 of these cases, you give me, again, 6 cases in a whole 12-year period, and 3 of them didn't even involve cops. That's how ridiculous it is. Now, I do agree that the list goes on. Yes, the 4,000 to 8,000 blacks that are killed by the hands of other black people every year, that he and other pro-blacks choose to ignore. They choose to ignore the real danger to black people. Now, in closing though, voting or not voting, that's not stopping any black person in America. There's no black person in America that's being held back from achieving anything in this country because Trump won. And the same thing would apply if Kamala Harris would have won. And nobody was held back from achieving anything when Biden won, or Trump before that. So voting or not voting is not the problem. The problem is not black people voting. The problem is the black victimhood. That's the problem, and that's the thing that needs to be addressed. And people like Dr. Umar Johnson keeps perpetuating that black victimhood by spewing absolute asinine jackassery like he did in this video, in that clip. Anyway, like I said, y'all, that's my 2 cents on this. Voting or not voting is not going to change a black person's life that drastically. You have every opportunity as a black person in America, take advantage of it. And as always, until next time.